Today I want to provide an update on the ongoing UFC antitrust lawsuit that has major implications for MMA and the UFC. This lawsuit has seen some major developments recently, so let's break it all down. First, the lawsuits are set to be fast-tracked. The judge overseeing the case, Judge Boulware, has indicated he wants to put this on the fast track for trial. The two cases against the UFC, Lee vs. Zuffa from 2010 to 2017 and Johnson vs. Zuffa from 2017 to present, will be tried separately, with Lee going first. The goal is to have the Lee trial sometime next year, and both sides have agreed the trial would likely take about 4 to 5 weeks. So this long-running case could finally see the trial end and be resolved before the end of next year. Before we go on, let me clear up some confusion on why this case is split up into two, but is still a class action lawsuit. Judge Boulware granted class certification to this case, allowing for it to progress as a class action. The difference is the dates in which they cover. Lee covers from 2010 to June 2017. Johnson vs. Zuffa covers from July 2017 to the present. Both are antitrust lawsuits brought by groups of UFC fighters against the promotion over allegations of unfair business practices that limited fighter pay and opportunities. The class action status allows these cases to move forward on behalf of a wider group of UFC athletes as a collective. So, the key difference being the periods of time. Fighters who were contracted by the UFC pre-July 2017 would be in the Lee case. Fighters who contracted with the UFC post-July 2017 would be in the Johnson case. Let's move on to the records that are set to be unsealed. Additionally, Judge Boulware said all records related to the case will soon be unsealed, with limited redactions. This means we could get a treasure trove of emails, texts, communications, and internal UFC documents on their business practices during the periods in question. Of course, most of the 800,000 documents produced won't be released, but we should still get a far more transparent look into the inner workings of the UFC's business. Next, let's go on to the UFC's appeal and contract changes. Before any trial, the UFC is filing an appeal on the class action certification before August 23rd. This would mean they are challenging the class action status, hoping to turn it off from being a class action lawsuit. Statistical odds favor the plaintiffs here, but we'll see if the appeal is accepted. If not, the plaintiffs propose the UFC eliminate exclusive contracts and allow fighters to become free agents within a year. This would drastically change the UFC's business model if implemented. So, what are the major implications of this trial as of now? In summary, the lawsuit seems to be ramping up with a possible trial in 2023 or early 2024. But it's important to really consider how impactful the results could be if the plaintiffs prevail. This could fundamentally transform the way the UFC does business and treats its fighters. The plaintiffs have argued that many of the UFC's contractual practices, like exclusive deals and long contract lengths, have suppressed fighter pay. If the court agrees and issues injunctive relief, we could see massive changes to the standard UFC contract. Fighters may be granted free agency much sooner, perhaps within a year, ending the UFC's exclusive negotiating rights. This could give fighters far more leverage in pay negotiations if they can test the open market sooner. It may also provide the opportunities to secure sponsorship and endorsement deals outside of the UFC's strict outfitting policy. The plaintiffs have also argued that the UFC restricted their earnings through things like unreasonable pay ceilings and clawback clauses on ancillary rights. If such clauses are deemed illegal, it would give fighters far more control and revenue opportunities from their own likenesses and image rights. Monetary damages could also be rewarded, compensating fighters for lost earnings over the years. Some estimate total damages could exceed $1 billion if plaintiffs prevail. That would be distributed to potentially thousands of current and former UFC fighters who were impacted. Of course, nothing is guaranteed yet, and the UFC is vigorously defending itself. But the next year may finally give us a resolution in the long legal battle and shape the contractual landscape for UFC fighters moving forward. The ripple effects of this could change the UFC fighter dynamic and business model as we know it. I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Let me know your thoughts on this and what you think is going to happen with the UFC's antitrust lawsuit.